This is me at 14 after 3 months of working out. And this is me 1 year and 3 months after that. I gained around 20 kilograms or 44 pounds of lean body mass within the span of 1.5 years of weightlifting and calisthenics, naturally, without bulking, tracking my calories, eating protein or any of that fancy stuff. And after 7.5 years of working out, I am now 93 kilograms or 207 pounds, and I still haven't been on a single bulk, never have I eaten protein or tracked my macros. If you think that I have good genetics, no. For all my life I was super skinny, and I have a brother who has been working out for some time, and he stopped and went back to being skinny. And I'm 100% confident that I would look the same that I looked at 13, only if I hadn't started working out. The thing with you is that you focus on the completely wrong thing. The main two reasons why I progressed so well is just because I did progressive overload and I worked out constantly. For you to progress, you just have to focus on those two things: progressive overload and consistency. Just those two things will yield you 95% of the result that you wanna achieve, especially for a beginner. For a beginner, I'd say it's even closer to 99%. And all the fancy stuff of eating proteins, bulking or lean bulking or whatever BS you've heard on the internet is just a minor part of your progress. I guarantee you can eat as healthy and clean food as you want, you can eat as much protein and creatine as you want, but if your workout systems aren't in place, you won't grow nearly as fast as the person who does the previous two things that I've mentioned and who neglects all the other fancy stuff that you wanna do with the proteins, bulking, increasing your levels of testosterone or whatever. Like, that's why I had so much progress in so little time, because I did the right things to grow and I didn't cry about the lack of money for protein, lack of good nutrition, lack of good training circumstances, whilst others did all of that fancy fluff, and it took them at least 5+ years to get where I was after only 1.5 years of training as a kid in his teens. That's why nobody believed in my naturality or accused me of having good genetics, but that's BS. I don't care how you look, skinny or fat, you can still achieve a really impressive physique as I had in a relatively short period of time. But you've got to do those two things the right way. But I won't go much into this in this video because I'll drop a separate video where I'll go in depth of this topic in more detail for completely free. Just subscribe so you don't miss out. Because nobody in this English YouTube is speaking of the things that I'm gonna speak about. Well, you might find some videos that speak about these topics that I'm gonna speak about, but I believe that I can do much better. I'm gonna separate the fancy fluff that everybody's trying to do, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what's really moving the needle of gaining muscle. I will leave a link in the description of this video once it's dropped. It will be super valuable for everybody: beginners, advanced, intermediate, for students and workers, for younger and older people. You'll get a ton of the information that I'm gonna provide, no matter who you are, what your genetics are, do you have money to eat healthy food or not, you'll still learn. So continuing to speak on the topic of the video, so if you wanna get lean muscle, that's totally okay. You can just keep on eating whatever your mom or girlfriend is cooking for you. As long as you don't eat candy and sweets for breakfast and dinner, you're gonna be alright with whatever food you eat. I promise you, in terms of muscle gain, there won't be a significant difference between you calculating macros, eating healthy food and doing all of that stuff, and between you just keeping on eating whatever food you are eating at the moment. So in 2 words, I would just suggest on main gaining. That's literally what I was doing for 7.5 years of my training. But let's say you wanna eat more healthy, of course you can start doing that, track macros, eating protein shakes. That stuff won't hurt. But the main thing that you wanna take away from this video is that you shouldn't focus and rely on the stuff that doesn't move the needle forward. Bulking itself came from steroid users. I won't go into much detail, but basically they use different gear when they wanna gain more muscle, remain the same weight, or lose weight in a certain period. And so that's why it's important for them to eat a lot of food during bulking. In simple terms, it's because they use a specific gear that helps build more muscle by eating. You are a natural athlete, you don't use no gear, and eating like a pig, going to the toilet more times, won't boost any hormones in your body and won't stimulate any muscle growth. But for you as a natural athlete, if you wanna be this healthy guy and eat clean, you could just calculate the macros that you've gotta eat and then just keep on eating healthy food whilst main gaining. You absolutely don't have to bulk. The only kinda legit reason for you to dirty bulk is that if you are too lazy to calculate all the macros and keep on eating every day the food that brings you those macros. And so that dirty bulking stuff might help you achieve on whatever macronutrients you need to eat in a day. But the funny thing is, once you start to dirty bulk, your body starts to absorb the food that you eat worse, and most of the extra stuff that you eat is going to go to the toilet or fart. Again, all of that stuff is completely unnecessary. Just eat healthy food, track your macros if you want to do it, and main gain. And maybe you will grow by a few percent faster by eating healthy food and tracking your macros. Because again, like I've said, don't focus on that stuff too much, because the two most important things for you to progress are consistency and progressive overload. Plus recovery is also important. I forgot to mention that. But anyways, I'm gonna speak about this topic in one of my next videos, so stay tuned. Now for me, it's gonna be hard to fight with all the internet to prove that bulking is a fluff. But my plan is to provide as much value for you as possible to use it, so learn from me, implement, and see yourself change in the mirror. And you won't need any additional evidence apart from that for you to understand that I know what I'm talking about.